And the reason that I'm here today and the reason that you are here today is because our ancestors were metabolically flexible and they were able to feast and famine. They were able to store fat and burn fat. And we did that for millions of years until about 60, 70 years ago. Just a teeny tiny little slice of human history. There is a purpose under heaven, a season, diet variation, feast, famine, good, bad. This is Dr. C.J. Benkert with Pura Vida Wellness, continuing to bring you my 12 core concepts to living your purest, healthiest, most vibrant, amazing life in body, mind, heart, and spirit. That's what I'm up to. That's what I'm passionate about. If you're listening to me, that means you resonate with that message and you also want to live your purest, healthiest, most amazing life. We're here to have fun. We're here to experience joy. If you're not having fun, if you're not experiencing joy, then you're not on the right path. Our emotions tell us whether we're living in alignment with our values or not. If you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're resentful, if you're depressed, it's because you're not living in alignment with your values. When you live in alignment with your values, when you do what you love to do, and for all of us it's different things, but just to narrow it down, when you're in love, when you're in peace, when you're treating yourself kindly and others kindly, when you're doing what's best for all, not just for you, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're happy and you're on the right path. So this is the beginning of our fourth core concept. This is our fourth week of training. I'm covering all 12 core concepts to living your best, purest life. This week we will be covering in detail diet variation. Today's topic in the next 10 minutes will be all about feast and famine. I originally learned this term from Dr. Daniel Pompa. I'm going to pull some information from his book today. I already posted the name of his book on my Facebook page. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, just message me and I'll give you the name of the book. I highly recommend it. It's called Beyond Fasting by Dr. Daniel Pompa, one of my main mentors for the last 10 years. If you're listening on the podcast, same thing. It's called Beyond Fasting, and he goes into detail, different types of fasts. So he taught me, and the group of doctors that he works with taught him, and his family members taught him that it's all about diet variation. So today we're going to talk about feast famine. Tomorrow we're going to go into different types of food and eating from the rainbow. The third lesson on this fourth concept of diet variation will be on the 5-1-1 weekly variation cycle. The fourth lesson will be talking about hormone building foods and why that's so important and when you should be eating hormone building foods. Lesson 5, I'm going to go into Dr. Stephen Gundry's plant paradox, and that's an issue for some people. I'll explain that on lesson 5. And then the last lesson of this series will be on overall diet variation, not just weekly, but monthly, seasonally, and yearly. All right, so I started off with that song because there is a season for every purpose under heaven. There's a time to feast, and there's a time to famine. Our DNA is locked in with that message. The only reason that you are hearing me or watching me right now is because your ancestors were really good at feasting and famining. Is that a word, famining? Feast and famine. Eating lots of food when there was lots of food around. And gaining fat, storing fat. That's okay. Because there was lots of times when there was no food. And the reason they survived, and the reason that I'm here today, and the reason that you are here today, is because our ancestors were metabolically flexible, and they were able to feast and famine. They were able to store fat and burn fat. And we did that for millions of years until about 60, 70 years ago. Just a teeny tiny little slice of human history. Like if you were to look at all of human history as a yearly calendar, the whole human history, whatever your beliefs are, billions of years, millions of years, whatever your beliefs are, all of human history on one calendar, the last day would be us eating agricultural food, and the last minute would be a processed sugar, high fructose corn syrup. All of the rest of human history, we were eating real, pure God food that we would find in nature, hunting buffalo, eating berries, finding herbs and fruits. We were eating the food that was provided to us by the creator of this planet that also created our bodies. But what happened 50, 60 years ago, right around the time I was born, we now have food on every corner, fast food, grocery stores. We can now, if we want to, eat every minute of the day. And most of us do eat most minutes of the day. But our bodies weren't designed to eat, feast, feast, feast. It's all about balance. Life is all about balance, right? There's beauty in the variety of life. Pain and loss, joy and pleasure and love. It's all about balance. So our bodies were designed to store fat when there's lots of food around, feast, and to burn fat when there's no food around, famine, so that we could survive. But now we're just eating. We have food available to us all the time. It's never happened before, ever in the history of this planet, of human race. We've never had access to food like we have access to food now. So we want to do both. We don't want to just do keto or paleo or vegetarian or vegan or the raw food diet or the super carb diet or the T-Rex diet, like the carnivore diet. No one diet is good. So you might say, well, when I switched over to being a vegetarian, oh my gosh, I felt so good. Everything was just so much better, my energy. Yeah, for a little while. Because anytime you change, that allows the body to adapt. And that's the name of the game, folks. It's adaptation. The magic is in the adaptation, the changing, the feast and the famine. That's where the magic lies. So no one diet is right. Now, I would say that for the most part, low carb, intermittent fasting, being in ketosis, most of the time has been shown via studies to be the healthiest, to allow you to live the longest, and to prevent diseases from occurring like cancer, Alzheimer's, etc. But do we want to be keto, low carb, in ketosis all the time? No. No, we don't. And that's why this is one of my core concepts to living your purest, healthiest life. You have to have diet variation. This is something that I scream from the mountaintops with my clients, because a lot of my program is helping diabetics get off of meds, fasting mimicking, intermittent fasting, ketosis. I have to shout at the top of the mountaintops Eat carbs sometimes. Do some hormone building days. Don't be so strict with your ketosis. Because, like Daniel Pompa and like myself, if you stay in ketosis all the time, the body's going to go into starvation mode. We don't want that. We want diet variation. So I took a few little notes here I wanted to share with you. And I posted this on my Facebook page, and it's from Dr. Pompa's books. Reasons to vary your diet. Here are some reasons why you might want to listen to what I'm saying, take action on what I'm saying, and if you've been really strict, if you're listening to me and you're just super strict about your diet and you're not seeing the results or you've plateaued, I have lots of clients that come to see me that are eating keto, that are organic, fasting, detoxing, all this stuff, but they're like, I'm stuck. You're stuck because we have to vary our diet. We have to keep our bodies metabolically flexible, and we have to make sure that we are allowing our bodies to change and to adapt, because it's adaptation which creates a strong, resilient body. Okay, so here are 8 reasons that you should vary your diet. Number 1, you're not losing weight. You've plateaued. Number 2, to prevent cancer and other age-related diseases. According to studies, diet variation is excellent at that. Number 3, if you want to live a longer, healthier life, diet variation. Number 4, you're not able to become fat adaptive. In other words, it's really hard for you to get into ketosis. You've heard about this keto. You have a good friend that went on keto and lost all this weight. And so you're like, oh, well, I'm going to try it. And then you try it and you just can't get into ketosis. And you're following it exactly. That's the 3rd reason, or the 4th reason why you should vary your diet. Number 5, no energy in ketosis. You're in ketosis, but you feel like crap. Number 6, hormone condition. So if you have a hormone condition, especially thyroid, adrenal issue, or diabetes, diet variation. Because we want the body to be adaptable, to be very strong in its adaptation mechanisms, which will in turn create maximum hormone optimization. And that's what we want for hormone conditions. Number 7, we want to be varying our diet if you want to gain muscle. And number 8, if you're losing muscle but getting thinner but you're skinny fat. So you're losing muscle, you're losing weight, but your body fat is increasing. So those are reasons to vary your diet. So feast, famine. Feast, there's 2 processes or systems in the body, or cascades. We have mTOR and we have autophagy. We have, in fact, I have a page in Dr. Pompa's book. So we have mTOR, autophagy. What are the things? So we have mTOR, which is building, anabolic, right? So like bodybuilders know this concept. They're going to eat high levels of protein, carbs, build, grow. And that's okay for a little while, but we don't want to be an mTOR building and growing all the time, because that can turn into cancer. Cancer is mTOR growth pathways, grow. We want to fluctuate. So the things that happen or create mTOR or building, which we do want sometimes, anabolic, cell replicating mTOR, feasting will allow mTOR pathways to take hold and to allow you to build and grow. Increased calories will turn on mTOR, allowing you to build and grow. And there's a time, right? There's a time for every purpose under heaven. High carbs, like 100 to 200 grams a day, will turn on mTOR. So that's the anabolic, that's the building up. But we also need a nice balance of breaking down, right? There's a time to reap and there's a time to sow. There's a time to hug and there's a time to refrain from hugging. There's a time to love and there's a time to hate. So the autophagy mechanism is turned on, which is the catabolic, right? That's the breaking down, that's the cellular cleaning of debris, of cancer cells, of worn out organelles. So what turns on autophagy? That beautiful balance between feast and famine. Autophagy is turned on by fasting, either daily or extended. So daily would be like intermittent fasting. That's what we do in our program for a big part of the time, is that 6 to 8 hour eating window. Restricted calories, so like a fasting mimicking or a partial fast. So, but my Buddha Vida transformation system, the first 40 days is a fasting mimicking state. We get you into autophagy by mimicking a fast, by limiting calories and fat, so that your body will do all the same things that it would normally do in a water fasting mode, but you still get to eat lunch, dinner, protein, unlimited vegetables, and certain amount of fruits, right? The other thing that turns on autophagy is low carb, keto, which is a big part of what I teach, but it's not everything. So me now, 7 years ago, I was close to 200 pounds. I was in my late 50s, early 60s metabolically. I was depressed. I had no energy. I took myself through the different stages, experimenting on my own body so that I could finally break free from this plateau. And I did this 40 days of fasting mimicking, eating 2 meals a day. And within 6 months to a year of going in and out of fasting mimicking and high healthy fats, diet variation, I am now in my 20s metabolically. Immediately in the first 40 days of me going through the first round of my program, I went from being in my early 60s metabolically down to 35 in 40 days. That's how powerful innate intelligence is within you. So what else turns on autophagy? Low protein, under 20 grams a day. So this is exactly what explains the first 40 days of my program. Fasting, we do intermittent fasting, restricted calories. You're eating somewhere between, there's no calorie maximum. In fact, we don't want you dropping under 500 calories, but we're restricting the amount of protein so that you stay in autophagy. It's 20 grams or less a day. We're restricting your carbs, so all the vegetables that we recommend in that first 40 days is all high fiber, high water, low carb vegetables. And so everything that this says that turns on autophagy is exactly what I do in the first stage of my program when clients come into me to reverse diabetes, handle weight loss resistance, help with thyroid issues, autoimmune. And then what do we do after that? We bring in lots of high healthy fats, more of the keto lifestyle. That's what we do after the 40, because fats are good. It's not good to keep fats out for too long. It's not good to fast for too long. It's not good to fast mimic for too long. Nothing is good for too long. So it's all about building up, breaking down. Autophagy, mTOR, feast, famine, optimizing the hormones, creating amazing, resilient, adapting bodies that are metabolically flexible. That's what's going to create the best life for you, the best quality of life, the longest life, so that hopefully we just go to sleep one night when we're 95, 110, and we just don't wake up the next morning. But when we went to sleep, we lived a full life. We didn't have to have someone taking care of us in a nursing home. We knew who we were. We remembered our family members. So will you choose health today? Will you start this pure life lifestyle with us? Will you continue watching and listening to these training videos, which I've designed to be very short, small, easily to digest pearls of wisdom, so that you can just listen to a training on your walk in the morning, or listen to one while you're grounding outside, or maybe on your way to work in the car? Will you join me with this Buddha Vida lifestyle? I hope so. All right, tomorrow we are coming to you with rainbows of all the colors of the rainbow, eating a variety of different foods, and I'll explain why. So that's it for today. Fourth core concept of my 12 core concepts, diet variation. Today's lesson was on feast and famine. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share these videos with people that you love and care about. And let me know how this is helping you. This is Dr. C.J. Benkert with Pura Vida Wellness, helping you, loving you, encouraging you, motivating you, educating you, but most important, empowering you to live your purest life in body, mind, heart, and spirit.